From Johannesburg, and everyone else coming from around the country has brought blessings of rain at this year's National Science Week under the theme Advancing Science Tourism. Joining me this morning is the Director General for the Department of Science Technology, Mr. Dr. Mjwara. I'm sure you're happy to be in Port Elizabeth, even though the rain is here, but happy to be with you this morning. So this year we are celebrating the 2017 National Science Week. How does this kind of science engagement help our communities?
Well, it helps because there are two audiences that we are targeting. The first target audience is the youth. And we hope that the youth, through the launch of the National Science Week and the exhibitions that we will be showing this morning, will be excited to follow careers in science, because we need people with maths and science for the science and the technology that we do in the country. The second target audience is the parents and the general public, because we would like the parents to encourage the children to follow careers in maths and science, but we also want the general public to appreciate science and technology because it's in our lives every day. So those are the two main reasons why we think it is important to launch the Science Week.
Now, there's also been a strong collaboration between yourselves and Nelson Mandela University. How has that partnership helped to grow the next future leaders of science?
Well, it comes in different places. As a Department of Science and Technology, we provide funding to the higher education institutions. In this particular case, next to me, you will hear from Professor Johan Netling what we've been doing to support them to get the state-of-the-art machine for doing microscopy, so you can analyze the material or any object for that matter that you may wish to analyze at the level that your eye cannot see. He can talk about that. The others, of course, is that we also look at the next generation of technologies. At the moment, we are funding with Cisco a broadband center at the Nelson Mandela University to look at the next generation of technologies for transmitting large amounts of data from point A, point B, and then C. Of course, we provide funding through the National Research Foundation to have the adequate number of researchers and PhD students.
Speaking about PhD students, there's been a push now to try and get more PhD students to pursue science. Has the number of PhD students taking up science grown, and how is that developing in the NMU?
Well, the good news is that one of our advisory councils last year published a report where they demonstrated that for the first time the number of black PhDs is just above the number of white PhDs. We also, of course, are very, very happy that we have seen a huge increase, I think about tenfold increase in the number of PhDs from about 2006 to 2016. So I think the numbers are going up. Of course, one of the things we are worried about now is where are these numbers of PhDs being absorbed, and we are conducting a study with the National Research Foundation to try and find out where do these students go. But we also are trying to make sure that some of these students stay in the academic environment so that they become the next generation. So I think the numbers are going up, and we are very, very grateful about that.
Now, let's just talk to Professor Netling a bit. I was just doing my research, and I want to get this right, that the High Resolution Transmission Center has the first double arbitration corrected transmission electronic microscope. Now, that is a tongue twister for me. Just for the viewers, in layman's term, what does that mean to have that, the owner of that in Africa?
It enables us to do research on the same level as the best labs overseas. So we are now able to analyze materials down from the micron to atomic scale, where we can see individual atoms and also analyze them and determine the nature of the bonds between the atoms. So we can really develop the most advanced materials with the aid of these instruments. We actually have 4 of these very advanced microscopes. With a one microscope, we can actually observe individual atoms.
Do you find that a lot of students are finding a lot of interest in this specific field of work?
The students, once they start to work with us, they become very interested, because it's really a very rewarding profession. One always has to solve new problems and try to understand nature better, but also there are a lot of opportunities to present your results overseas and to collaborate with scientists from Japan, Russia, China, all the way to the US and Brazil.
And how do you think that such a center is going to position South Africa and the continent for the next industrial revolution?
Well, you know, the next industrial revolution already has topics such as nanotechnology and 3D printing. And we are analyzing materials made by both these techniques. For example, in 3D printing, a part is made by depositing the material in a powder form, layer by layer, and then fusing it with a very strong laser. But in order to make sure that the parts will have the required properties for the application, whether it's in an aeroplane or in electronic devices, we have to analyze the materials in detail to see that it meets these requirements. So we are doing that already. But more important, the next industrial revolution will not be very successful unless we have a good supply of energy and water in South Africa. So we are also working in these fields to develop future nuclear reactors and solar cells and technologies for water desalination.
And then also, just lastly, in your opinion, what important role does this research play in trying to develop the economy of this country?
We are supporting the big industries already, Sasol, Eskom, Element 6, Hulamin, and much of the research that other universities are doing in advanced materials, we're also assisting there, as well as the development of highly skilled scientists for South Africa.
Well, that was the DG of the Department of Science Technology saying that the number of postgrad students taking up science has increased, and then also Professor Netling from the High Resolution Center saying that science is all about finding solutions, and we need to try and find solutions, particularly in trying to increase the energy source in the country. For now, it's back to you in the studio.